do you know that we can fetch our user details from Salesforce org and then can display on the record page or any page using our Lightning Web Component? So in this video, we'll be fetching user details such as user ID, username, user role, user profile, or their manager. We'll be doing this for our user, that is as us, that is mine is Trailhead Ranger NJ. So and then we'll be fetching all the details, and we'll be displaying it on the UI using the Lightning Web Component. So without wasting any time, let's get started on this. And welcome back to our channel Trailhead Ranger NJ. And in our today's video, we'll be fetching users detail and we'll show it on the UI by creating a test app on which we will be implementing our future LWC components as well. So in this, we are saying that we will be fetching user details. So what are those user details? So such as user ID, what is user's name, what role is this user is having, what is the user's profile, what is user's email ID, or such things. Any such things we can fetch and display it on the UI. So let's first create a Lightning Web component. I'll give it name as show user details. After creating a Lightning component, let's go to the meta file first and let's expose it to true. After exposing it to true, let's set its targets. I'll be setting it for app page only because I want our this component to display on app page and work there. So let's deploy this. Then I'll move back to the JS file, and in JS file I will first of all importing the user ID. So let's import, that is ID from, we can import user ID from Salesforce /user/id. We can directly get user ID from here, and then we can import wire adapter, that is get record, which will help us to fetch whatever records data is there for user object. So this is import get record from sorry, not Salesforce but Lightning UI record API. Okay, and then we have, now let's import other fields such as name. We'll be importing name from user, so we'll use Salesforce schema. Schema is nothing but, you can say as that in Salesforce we do have schema builder where we can see all the objects and their relationship among each other. So that's represent that only, we can say. And let's see Salesforce schema user dot name. Whatever the suggestion is coming up, you can take a hint from those as well, not from these, but this like after typing it in, it is coming up. Otherwise you will have to refer the API name from the object manager. So now I'll be fetching role, that is Salesforce schema user dot user role. Then I have profile from Salesforce schema user dot profile. Then let's import manager as well, Salesforce schema user dot manager, and let's show the email as well. And if you want, we can display phone number as well of user. Let's do that as well. Email, then we have phone number from Salesforce. Make sure that all of your spellings are correct. Yeah, so that's correct. Now let's go here Now what we will do, we will first assign this id to a variable, that is user id. So that is, this variable will be storing this value, and as you can see that whatever we have imported from on top, it is coming in bright colors, otherwise it's in dark. Okay, so let's define other variables as first, which will be storing values, that is username, user role, user profile, user manager, user email, user phone number. Okay, we have defined all the variables. Now from this wire adapter which we had just defined, we'll import the value, that is wire get record. Then fields we have, first of all we'll give the record id. And what is the record id? We have it in this dot user id, because we want to fetch the user data. So user record will be having a record id as the user id. Then we have fields, and in fields we can give all as these variable will be giving, that is name, role. So it will fetch all these fields value. I will show you how it will display to us, so that later on we can modify it, or we can check that how to fetch that value particularly. So now in later on we'll assign this all data to this variable fetch user data, and these two variable of this will be holding the data, that is data and error. If any data occurs, that it will store in this variable, otherwise in error. So let's check if the error is holding any data. If yes, then assign it to this variable, and if not, then let's move on and check, do we have any data in data variable? If yes, then please assign our values to these fields. So first of all we'll check for each value for null values. So first of all we are checking if our data is not having any null data, that is data variable should be having at least some data to process. And if it is having any data, so in how it will be storing it, that is data dot fields, because in this fields it will be having the data. And then in data dot fields dot, first of all we have name. Then in name we will be having it its value in value variable. If this is having value, so how we will assign it to the username variable, that is data dot fields dot name dot value. And here we will be checking for null exception. Before that, one more thing, in case it this data will be appearing it in JSON format, and we are not having any idea that how JSON data will be appearing, or how we can assign it to a variable. So what you can do, you can just fetch the data and then have it in logs to display. So I'll be doing that only, data, and let's have data display here first, so that we can check and then assign to all other variables. After this let's deploy this and see if we are getting any error. Missing resource value for user id. um, did I miss something there? So we are fetching it from Salesforce user id. I guess this should be small. Let's see. Okay, so that's correct. Now we are getting error for wire, because we have not assigned this to here. and let's deploy it now. So all error are resolved and we are getting a invalid reference user.manager of type standard object. Okay. What invalid reference? Guess what we will have to do is this should be having user role dot name, then profile dot name, and similarly for manager as well dot name, because otherwise it would try to fetch their id but not any particular parameter. So now it is correctly deployed, and after this is deployed for ui, what we will do, we'll create a lightning card over here saying show user details, and then we'll just simply be having our variables in there, that is username. Let's first have user id, user role, user profile, user manager, and we have user email, user phone number. What's the correct name? So I'll get it from here, and that's how we'll be displaying all the data. Let's deploy this as well. Now let's move back. Now we'll be creating a lightning app page, so we'll go to setup and then search for lightning app builder. In lightning app builder, we'll create a new page, app page, then click on next. Let's give our test LWC app, then next, and let's keep it header in two regions. You can select any of these, and then I'll have my component, that is show user details. I'll drag and drop here. So it is saying that cannot read properties of undefined reading user id. Okay, so let's fix that as well. Let's go back to our Visual Studio. Let's go to JS, and then we are having imported our id here, then this, and then in okay, let's try to change this record id to direct id. Maybe it might not be accepting our variable. Let's go back, and then I'll save it, because otherwise I will have to refresh. If I'll refresh it, I will have to create this page again. I will have this page activate for all user. In lightning experience, I'll choose the sales app. Okay, no, let's not do this. Let's save this. Skip and save. Now let's go back. Let's search for our test LWC app. So here is the fields. So you can see that our user id and username is coming. So just to be clear, we'll give this as id, name, role, profile, manager, and we'll get to know which fields are blank as well. So first of all, we have not assigned any value to other these variable, that's why it's not coming. We had already only assigned user id over here and username here, but now we'll see the data. So let's go back here and click the right, then inspect, then in console you will be see data. Okay, so it is coming as object, so we'll go to Visual Studio and have this data stringified. So do it as a JSON dot stringify of data. Then let's go back here and refresh this page. After refreshing, you can see all these are coming, but not the values because we have not assigned it, and here is all the data coming. So how you can check that data? Just go to Google and type in JSON beautifier. After clicking on this, click on this URL and then just type in this data and click on format beautify. After doing this, you can see if I will type fields.email.value, so I will get this value on my UI. For manager, we don't have any value, so if I'll do fields.manager.value, I'll get nothing, and likewise. So let's do this. Let's copy this and then here, if our fields.manager.value is not equals to null, then assign this to our user manager, and which value it will assign, this one. Then we have, if data dot fields dot email dot value is not equals to null, then please assign user email value to this data dot fields dot email dot value. Similarly, let's pick if. Now next we will choose role. So let's go back. So now let's go back and see for role. Here we have user role dot value. So again we'll have to do just data dot. Here it's fields, not field. User role dot value is not equals to null. Then this dot user role equals to data dot fields dot user role dot value. Then for profile we have our profile as this, so it is profile dot value dot fields dot name dot value. You can clearly see that it's getting nested. It is nested and our profile value is here, so we'll just do data dot fields dot profile dot value dot fields dot name dot value. So let's go back, and if data dot fields dot profile dot value dot fields dot name dot value is not equals to null, then please assign this to our user profile. I'll copy this from here, and for easier what you can do, you can just check from here. If this itself is null, then it won't go any further, so we'll check only this. And then we have phone number. So where is the phone number? Phone is here, phone's value is null, but let's assign it. That is, if data dot fields dot phone dot value is not equals to null, then please assign this to our variable, that is user phone number. Phone dot value. In this, let's go and check for manager and role once more. So we don't have any role of us here and neither the manager value. So we'll go back to our VS. We'll deploy this code. We'll do one more thing here, but let's go back first. And after going back, we'll just come to our app and we'll refresh it. So you can see email is populated, but it is not reading the name that is on the profile. It's giving error for us, it's giving us error for profile. So let's go back. I guess this one was fields, right? Fields. So see, that's why I was saying that don't make these minor mistake. Let's go back and deploy this once again, and we'll close this, we'll refresh it. So now our profile is coming up, but now it doesn't look good, right? That role, manager and phone number is coming as blank. So we'll go here, and what we will do, that we know that manager value is empty, so we'll just put this. Let's do this, we'll put here else this dot user manager is NJ Ranger, and our profile is no, profile is not blank, but the role is blank, right? So let's give role admin, and then our phone number is blank, so let's give anything. Now let's deploy this. So now these values should be appearing there, that if any of these values are null, so please populate these. So we have not given any value for say name or anything, so it should get populated. Let's see, it's not, because it is not going in else itself. There is another thing what we can do, we'll give the condition of null for manager, that is this is equals to null, and user role is equals to null, then phone is null. So please assign these values. We'll refresh it. So you can see now all the values are coming up. Just need to do the hard refresh. If not, if normal refresh is not working, I know it is not looking good, but currently we were just learning that how we can fetch the data and just display, and displaying this data by assigning it into these variables, and then using these variables on HTML like this is called data binding. And this is one way data binding, that is from RJS to LWC only. So I hope you understood that how we are fetching the data of user, that is ID, name or any other things. Then how are we using this get record wire adapter, then how we are checking the JSON format of data, then how did we assign these values to the variables and displayed it on the UI like this. So if you enjoyed and learned something, please do like the video and subscribe the channel for more, and do let me know in the comment section if you have any doubts, or if you want any other scenario to play out. Thank you, stay tuned.